What's going on YouTube? So Ram made some big updates to the 1500 truck lineup this year, including the addition of a new performance trim.
That's right, we just spent the last week living with this new Ram RHO, the new top dog in the lineup.
And after a week with this behemoth, do we think this is the ultimate Ram to buy? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So a fitting place to begin this review is under the hood with our quick spec dump. So this model is going to be powered by the high output version of the 3-liter twin turbocharged inline 6-cylinder. It's making 540 horsepower. That's paired, of course, to 4-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic transmission, and combined fuel economy comes in at 15 mpg.
Now the base price for this trim level is $69,000, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now this is a 7-day review, so that means we're going to be discussing our real-world impressions throughout the video, as well as getting things like our real-world fuel economy, and at the end discussing if we like it better, the same, or worse after living with it.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to take a look at the bold exterior design as well as the interior first. Now, across the entire lineup, Ram made some pretty significant adjustments to the overall design of the 1500. But here with the RHO, this is really where you unlock the most aggression in the lineup. As we were saying, this is a high-performance truck, and you can see that in the overall design, beginning up here in the front. So it definitely has a lot in common with the outgoing TRX model. You've got the full blacked-out grille through here. You've got the special flow-through branding, helping you get maximum airflow into that big old engine. And of course you've got the hood scoop as well as the vents up here as well. Now, kind of looking at the rest of the front, you can see we've got the recovery hooks here if your off-road situation gets a little bit too crazy. You have about 12 inches of ground clearance, and then of course you have the real metal skid plates to protect you. The headlights themselves, as this is a more premium trim level, you get the up-level headlights. So we have projector, full LED headlights. These have dynamic turn signal indicators and approach and exit animations. We also have fog lights, of course, down below. And then as we move around to the back, you'll see that we've got a very, aggressive look back here as well.
Yeah, and you'll just notice how wide it is, just like in the front. Now, as far as individual design touches, we have giant Ram branding, RHO branding, and let's check out our tail lights as well and see if all the elements are LED. So we do have an LED brake light, LED reverse light, and LED turn signal. So every single element is going to be LED, as you would expect for a higher-end Ram truck. And then as we drop down to the lower fascia, you'll notice all of this is going to be blacked out for that nice aggressive look. Namely, you'll also notice these dual integrated exhaust outlets, and this is actually going to be pumping out a special exhaust sound for the RHO as compared to the other trim levels. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Now, as far as towing is concerned, I'm sure a lot of you guys are concerned about that. This specific trim level comes in at 8,380 pounds. You do also have a full-size spare tire integrated underneath. Now, let's talk about the bed as well. Since we have the high equipment group, that is going to actually give us a fully power tailgate. So, as you can see, if power goes down, you can also power do it up. So that's a really nice feature that you're going to find on the loaded examples. Dropping it back down, you will find a spray-in bed liner. This is a 5-foot 7-inch bed. The bed liner is an optional feature here on the RHO. We also have rails along the sides. One thing worth noting is that you can't get the Ram boxes on this trim level, so that's a little disappointing. Now over on the side, we additionally have a household style outlet to power your tools or whatever you may need. Now, in order to get into the bed, they have made that pretty easy, so you just kick out this little step here. There's a little handle, and that can be done pretty easily, even for shorter folks like myself.
Now moving on to the wheels, we've got an 18-inch alloy wheel. We have the optional B-Lock capable And obviously they've got a very rugged design, but what's more important than that is the fact that we've got these super meaty all-terrain tires wrapped around. This is going to, be able to take a lot of off-road abuse. And another thing that's designed to take abuse is the fact that we have Bilstein shocks. So these are designed to give you a ton of travel. If you're doing, high-speed off-roading, doing jumps even, you can have up to 14 inches of travel when you're jumping over obstacles. Now, as we come up here to our mirrors, as you can see, we've got the large towing mirrors. They've got all the luxury features as well, including auto dimming, power folding, and blind spot monitoring. And yes, by the way, guys, this is a very tall truck. We're not part of the over 6 foot tall club, but even if you're over 6 foot tall, you're still gonna look small next to this big guy.
Now at the side of the RHO, of course, you're going to see some special graphics. You're also going to notice that we have this blacked out piece down here at the bottom. That's, of course, indicating this is a sport truck. Now, as far as bed and cab configurations, the RHO is very simple. This is the only way you can get it with the 5'7" bed and the crew cab configuration. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, this is also pretty simple because Ram is including all of those as standard equipment, including adaptive cruise control. Now, if you want a next level up, you can actually get a semi-autonomous highway assist function. That's included in the high equipment group on the RHO. But guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior and what we've thought about it for the last week. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Now let's move to the interior. First, here's our key fob. As you can see, it's got the specific red RHO branding, standard smart entry, and remote start as well. Getting inside the truck, just reach behind the handle. That will unlock the door. And then we can take a look at the interior. So when it comes to this cabin, like I already mentioned, this is one of the kind of higher end trim levels, and especially so if you get the level 1 equipment group, it really throws in a ton of premium features. And that begins with the seats. So you'll always have leather seats on board with the specific RHO branding, but what's kind of special about these is you get some additional features, including the fact that you have massaging and ventilation added. We'll talk about that a little later, but as far as the leather quality, very nice. I love the Alcantara inserts and the nice bolsters. You've got a lot of adjustments down there, and that same package also gives you memory seats. There's your massage button as well. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now, of course, getting inside is a little bit difficult. We're giving you our living with impressions. I'd say even if you're very tall, it's still going to be something that you have to kind of grab that assist handle, pull yourself inside. Also, since we have the optional rock rails, you don't really have much of an assist step, just about this much to kind of put your toes on. But now that we're fully inside the interior, let's go ahead and talk about the overall interior quality. Now, like I was saying earlier, we've got that important equipment group that unlocks a lot of the luxury features for this trim level. And because of that, you'll see a lot in common with the really high-end Rams, including a nice leatherette across all of our armrests. We've got some suede inserts, some genuine carbon fiber accents, more of the leatherette all through here. That continues across the upper dashboard and through here with a little bit of RHO branding and even along the center console. Overall, the interior quality is very solid and it feels well put together. Now we'll fire it up with our red accented push button start. All right, so let's jump into the interior features and some impressions. First up, we've got our gauge cluster here. It's a full digital 12.3-inch cluster. You can reconfigure a couple different kinds of information, of course, inside of the screen itself. And then we also have the available head-up display. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, I really like this steering wheel a lot. So we've got the Performance Ram steering wheel. It's got a flat bottom, a little bit of carbon fiber, perforated leather on the sides there. It looks really, really nice. And we've got real metal paddle shifters, which are on the back side. Just be aware they are split into two pieces, so you have to hit them at the top or the bottom because there's audio controls back there. The wheel itself is manual tilt and telescoping. It is heated as well. And then, of course, we've got interior storage. As you'd expect, it's a big truck. You've got ample storage just about everywhere you look, including up here at the top. You've got a small felt-lined container. The broader area here is a huge center console filled with donuts. That's because, of course, here at Car Confections, we like to do the donut test to check the interior donut volume. And compared to rivals, in this case, it fits 24, which is the maximum amount of donuts, 2 dozen. And that's despite the fact that this actually has a little bit less space than some of the other Ram trucks because the shifter is located here instead of the rotary style. Nevertheless, you still got your 2 cup holders. You have a big area up here with double wireless phone charging pads. I will mention that those work really quite well compared to a lot of the competition. And then we also have some storage on the sides as well as storage in the door trims. Now, speaking of the shifter, this performance shifter, nice and easy to use since it's just a traditional style. Pull back for drive, bump over here to the left if you want to shift manually. And again, you've got those paddle shifters. When we head into reverse, here is our 360-degree camera system, This is included in that level 1 equipment group I was mentioning earlier. Otherwise, you're just going to get the regular camera. And I would certainly recommend going for this option because this is a quite challenging vehicle to park, especially in tight areas. Because it is so large, you'll want to have that camera. Now, in this area where the shifter is on some of your other Ram trucks, you've got some 4-wheel drive controls. You also have the prominent RHO drive modes, and this allows you to cycle between all the different modes. We'll show you some of those modes later on, including the sport mode, and you also have a launch mode. Now we'll shift our attention over into this area. As you can see, you've got some different accessory buttons you can use. You also have your trailer brake controller, about a dozen USB connections down there. And then let's talk about climate controls because those are kind of integrated into the display. I want to mention that before we get too deep into the display. You've got some physical buttons on the side there to adjust your temperature up and down as well as your fan speeds. The rest of the stuff is inside of that comfort menu there. It's a dual zone automatic setup. As I was mentioning earlier, you have the available ventilated seats on this model with equipment group 1. Heated seats are already included as standard equipment. Now, down below that, we have our volume knob. In that equipment group 1, that gives us the 19-speaker Harman Kardon premium audio system. And I think it's time to give that a sample. Very nice. The sound quality of this system is quite phenomenal, actually. It really fills up the cabin super nicely. Good bass, good balance. I also love that they include the beautiful real metal speaker grills on the door trim as well. All right, so moving into our main display here, since we've got that equipment group 1, that brings us to the largest display offered in the Ram lineup. It's the 14.5-inch display. As you can tell, very large display. We have plenty of real estate to be working with in the infotainment system. This is Uconnect 5. Now, as far as some real-world feedback on this screen, we have to say that this is a pretty laggy system. We did have many instances throughout the week. It probably won't happen on camera, but where actually you can see there's just definitely some lag when you press different buttons, especially when you're dealing with the climate control things and you want to get to like your ventilated seats on a hot day. Sometimes you have to press things multiple times to be able to pull up those menus. But we have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities, and then you also have special performance apps for the RHO right there. Over to the side, you'll notice we have the available passenger display. This is about 10 inches. We've seen this in some other Stellantis products. It's got a few different functions that the passenger can mess with while you are driving, and of course you can't see it over here on the driving side. Up top here, we've got the auto-dimming mirror. This is the digital camera system as well, and you have home link remotes right here on the visor. As far as the top, you'll notice that we do not have a sunroof on this trim.
Now, one of the nicest things about the Ram truck has always been this rear seat area, and that certainly will continue for this Ram RHO. Now, as far as the space figures, that's really the most impressive part. We're sitting at 45 inches of legroom and about 40 inches of headroom. That means for any size or shape of person, you will fit back here perfectly fine. That's really about as large as any vehicle on the market. And, of course, that comes with the crew cab version of this vehicle. Now, we brought the official Car Confections ruler along to see how much knee room you can expect with this seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and as expected, over a foot, well, right at a foot of knee space. That's really awesome. Also, my feet can slide up underneath of the seat, and we're not done yet because this seat actually has some cool functionality that no other truck has. I can recline it, so they're kind of taking advantage of that extra leg room. I can recline and get a lot more comfortable than I would have in other trucks, for instance. Now, if you want to further increase that comfort, you can actually fold down this middle seat. We have a full armrest, so basically it's just like sitting in the front. We can actually open it up as well, and there's a nice felt lining inside of here. We could fit some more donuts, perhaps. 2 cup holders in the back of here as well. And we're not done yet, because if you want further cup holders, there's 2 up here at the top. Carbon fiber trim. We have our own vents, 4 USB ports, a household outlet, and we also have heated and ventilated back seats here. That is included, of course, with the high equipment group on the RHO, but it's very rare, once again, to have ventilated back seats in any truck. The rear glass does open as well. It's a power setup, and if I fold up the rear seats, you will find the ability to put a couple things in this cubby, as well as just whatever you might need. Now, over on the door trim, we do have a nicely equipped one. Of course, it's leatherette wrapped on the top to bottom. We have carbon fiber, some suede, and then we also have quite a bit of door storage down in the bottom. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Ram RHO in this test drive. We can't wait to show you the performance, of course. We'll also be discussing quite a few other things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll additionally be getting things like our sound level reading. But first, let's go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Very nice. So there was our 0 to 60 acceleration. And obviously this is quite the quick truck, that's for sure. Coming courtesy of 540 horsepower, 521 pound-feet of torque. So the high output Hurricane engine is, of course, a very powerful engine. You can get that in other versions of the Ram truck. It's not exclusive to just the RHO, but it definitely gives you plenty of power to meet your performance expectations with this trim.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, after living with this truck this week, it really is very fast. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be very disappointed. Yes, this is not the, Hellcat motor anymore, but I will say that this is fast. It feels very performance-oriented, and I also don't mind the sound. I think it sounds pretty good. Now, does it sound as good as the V8 before? Probably not. For those of you that, love the V8 growl, but I think that for a lot of people, this is going to be a great alternative, and of course, bring that price down, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, it definitely still has a powerful sound to it. And speaking of sound, I think it should be mentioned that Ram has at this point confirmed that for the 2026 model year, they actually are bringing back the Hemi engines to the Ram lineup, but that does not impact this RHO because that Hemi is so much less powerful than this high output engine. This will continue to be the only way that you can get the RHO, even though you can get the Hemi on most of the other trim levels for 2026. And that was the launch control. That's certainly pretty fun to do. Found a good flat spot to demonstrate that for you guys. As you can see, it's kind of a big menu inside of the performance things I was mentioning earlier. When you get into this, you can kind of set what RPM you want to launch at, let the boost build, let off that brake, and away you go. It certainly takes off a lot stronger when you build that boost up than it does when you just flatten the throttle from a standstill in the normal sport mode. Now, another thing we were really impressed by is the 8-speed automatic transmission. In day-to-day use, this transmission is very smooth, but even when you're driving aggressively, it remains willing and able to drop multiple gears at once. Also, you've got those paddle shifters I was mentioning earlier, and these are very responsive, so you might not expect that they would be as responsive as they are, but you can see you really get that immediate feedback.
All right, but we are just cruising down the highway portion of our drive, and I think now is a great time to talk about overall ride quality. So, like we said, we lived with it this week. We've talked a lot about the performance of this RHO, but how does it ride on the day-to-day? Well, I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised by that. A lot of these off-road focused trucks do have really good suspension setups. I am happy to tell you that's the case for this RHO as well. When you hit a bump in the road, it feels like nothing. This truck, of course, really soaks up the bumps. It also is just so big. I think really no bump has any match for how big this truck is. That's for sure. You're not going to have the air suspension from other versions of the Ram 1500, but I certainly don't think you need it. You'll be more than happy with this suspension setup. The seats are comfortable. The massage function also works really quite nicely if you go for the high-end version of the RHO. I will mention though, of course, the body roll. This is an off-road focused truck, so it does have a lot of body roll when it comes to that. And we are speeding up to 55 miles per hour so we can get things like our sound level reading. I'm going to go ahead and toggle us to fan speed 1. Our vented seats are off, and I'll also turn my massage seat off as well.
And we're back to normal drive mode.
Normal drive mode. There's a lot of things to check. Let's see how quiet it is. Not bad at all. 56.6 decibels is what we are sitting at as our sound level reading here in the Ram RHO. Now, we don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to other trucks. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. Now, indeed, that's not going to be the quietest truck out there, that's for sure. I do want to point out, though, that the Ram 1500 Limited trim is actually the quietest truck that we've tested out. This RHO certainly will change a few things, namely the tires. This cabin definitely sounds very quiet when it comes to overall like road noise and hearing things outside the cabin, but the tires, I will say, make a lot of noise. So as you're kind of cruising down the road like this, you will notice there's a lot of noise coming from those very off-road focused tires. That's just kind of the price that you're going to pay for choosing this trim level, so keep that in mind.
Now, mentioning driving dynamics real fast, Mason already kind of introed this. Obviously, it's an off-road focused truck, so it's more natural habitat is out in the off-road portion than it is on a back road like this. You definitely have plenty of body roll, but the thing I want to commend is that the steering is really nice. They weighted it nicely. It has good feedback as well, so you get immediate response when you go off center, and I think that's really critical because when you drive this truck on a country road like this, you're taking up the whole lane, like the edge to the middle, and you really need to be precise, and I think that helps you feel, good and stable with what you're doing.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, as far as how power is routed to the ground, of course, the RHO comes standard with full-time four-wheel drive. You also do have an electronic locking rear diff. And let's talk about fuel economy. So the RHO is rated at 14, 16, 15 miles per gallon combined. Of course, that's not great fuel economy. That is better than what the TRX used to be. That was, I think, 12 mpg, so a little bit of an improvement there. Now, as far as our real-world fuel economy, we haven't quite concluded our full test of the tank of gas yet, so we'll just go ahead and insert a picture in after we, fully deplete that out and give you as many miles as possible. I don't think fuel economy is going to be the biggest focus of anyone who's buying a truck like this, but just in case you want to know about it. All right, let's get into our slam dunk and airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about this Ram 1500 RHO. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the slam dunk?
For the slam dunk, we're going to say it's the basically everyday livability of this truck. Besides for it being pretty difficult to park because it is super, super long and super wide, other than that, it's really easy to live with, and that's despite, being a high-performance truck, you still get all the luxury goodies and things that you want inside of the cabin, which kind of spoil you over time.
Yeah. Now on the flip side, the airball, what we're going to say is the technology, and really this is going to go for the entire Ram 1500 lineup. They did update the technology, but it leaves a little bit to be desired, that's for sure. It's very, very laggy. Like almost every menu you click on, it has some type of severe lag, which is just something that, of course they updated it. I'm just disappointed in the actual performance of the software. Also, they put key vehicle elements like turning on your heated and ventilated seats inside the screen. This is a gigantic truck. Why don't you just give me a button? And it's a 7-day review, so do we like it better, the same, or worse after living with this RHO for a week? I think we're all going to say better. And the reason we say that is because this is kind of a truck that I feel like gets a lot of negative publicity, mainly because they eliminated the V8 and now it's an inline 6-cylinder. Here's what I think about that. I actually really enjoyed my time with this RHO. The performance of the engine is actually really quite good, and I like it. I do also love the V8 as well, so I'm hoping that Ram will bring back maybe the TRX and make it like a Raptor R competitor. I think this is a great Raptor competitor, but it's not quite that next step up, so hopefully they'll bring it back with a upcoming TRX model in the future. And let's talk pricing. So as far as the whole Ram 1500 lineup, we started around $46,000 for the base model. You go all the way up to about $87,000 for a fully loaded tungsten trim. This RHO starts right at about $69,000. We, of course, though, have quite a few options. So as you can see, $69,995 is the base price, but this main package that costs $10,000 is what we have. That includes pretty much all of your equipment. We also have quite a few accessories, $19.95 destination. All told, we're a hair under $88,000. Now, if you're looking to buy a Ram 1500 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as features like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's talk about resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Ram 1500's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 57.1% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 43.4%. Now, it's worth noting those are very good resale value percentages. Typically, trucks do have higher resale value percentages than other types of vehicles, and of course, for the Ram brand, that does mean that you're going to have pretty good resale value.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several trustworthy sources of studies on reliability and combines them in a way that gives you the most holistic picture. In this regard, Ram is rated above the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you do have a 3-year 36,000-mile basic warranty, a 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranty, but I do want to mention for 2026 model year, Ram has already said that they are going to increase the warranty, so it's going to be a 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, so that's something to keep in mind if you want to wait maybe until next model year. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth 7-day review of the heavily refreshed and all-new 2025 Ram 1500 RHO. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, that's really the point of us making these 7-day reviews, please hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and we have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.